Hi, welcome back to the music version. I'm Ed, and I've been writing and recording music for over 40 years, and yet I still consider myself a music virgin. Well, last week we talked about the rise and fall of Too Normal in 1981. So this week I want to continue with the story of the resurrection of Too Normal in 1985. Johnny X and myself had just come off of about 4 years of jumping in and out of bands, trying to find that same magic that we had with Too Normal, with no real luck. We'll talk about those years in another episode. So in 1985, Johnny X and myself attended the wedding of Joe and Kelly Rocco. In fact, Joe hired me to videotape the wedding. We won't go into how well the video came out. During the reception, there was a band playing. I don't remember what band it was, but I do remember that somehow Johnny X, Joe Rocco, and me ended up on stage together jamming. Remember that chemistry that I talked about? It was still there. We all felt it. I think the audience felt it, although it was a wedding reception and everybody was probably loaded. But we felt it, and that was good enough to make us want to try it again. We started getting together every week jamming and coming up with a bunch of new songs. And again, there was one song in particular that stood out. That song was called The Typical Thing. We would often play out at little family get-togethers and parties, and every time we started that song, it just got a really big response. So here we go again. We booked some studio time at Film Space in State College, owned by Tom Kiter. Our plan this time was to record a 45 single. A quick side note to all you youngsters out there. A 45 is a vinyl small record that had one song on each side, played at 45 RPMs. Vinyl's kind of making a comeback now, so you might already know that. Okay, so let's continue. We got to Film Space, we set up, we were ready to start recording with, we thought would be Tom Kiter, but it turned out that Tom was now on the video side of the production, and he had handed over the production to a young lad by the name of Drew Rezon. Lucky for us, Drew was a great guy who really knew his way around the board, and we got along immediately. We just liked him. He was a good man. Still is. So we recorded these 2 songs. We pressed the vinyl. We started playing all over Pennsylvania. We sent the record to all the radio stations locally and around the region. We even got some airplay. We got some interviews. Was a good promotion tool. So we got quite a few club gigs around central Pennsylvania. Altoona, Harrisburg, Lancaster, State College. Unfortunately, we didn't have much of a plan. Joe Rocco was still a 40-hour-a-week businessman. Johnny X had just recently started an advertising agency, and I was self-employed in home remodeling. So in hindsight, I guess we should have had a business manager, because I ended up doing all the booking, and it was actually quite a load. I got a little burnt out. Near the end of the band, we decided to add my wife, Zell, and a friend of ours named Julie as background singers. Kind of spice things up a little bit, and it was a good concept. It generated a lot of interest. The problem was the age-old problem of club owners wanting you to play cover material. We did a lot of interesting covers, and then we would sneak in our 10 original songs throughout the set. But, you know, at some point you either get real big or real tired. I got real tired and disillusioned, and I ended up just kind of pulling the plug on the whole thing around 1988. I was tired of being broke all the time, and I took a job in construction out on the road, so I was driving around from state to state. My home remodeling business was okay, but you really have to work that hard for it to work, and I didn't spend enough time on it. Okay, let's listen to a little bit of the typical thing, and then when I come back, we'll talk a little bit more. Yeah, pretty good song for the mid-'80s. Kind of had that Hall & Oates soul groove to it. Our hope was that somebody would hear the song on the radio or see us playing live and sign us up to a contract, but again, you really need a viable plan, and a manager wouldn't hurt. Some money to promote yourself wouldn't hurt either. This was all before the internet, so you couldn't just pop a song up on like SoundCloud and get discovered and get a record contract and get out to the entire world. Nevertheless, we had a wonderful experience, and we got to feel that magic again, and we got to meet our friend Drew Rezon, who's still a great music man in Philadelphia area these days. And believe it or not, there's even talk that the trio might get back together in 2026 and do some writing. And maybe we can even hook up with Drew behind the console. Who knows? Who knows what lies ahead? One thing for sure is, I'll see you right here next Wednesday for another episode of The Music Virgin. Thanks for watching.